Yo, what is up, my friends? It is Hippo, and over the weekend in Shanghai, Marvel released an official look at a large roster of heroes that are going to be in Doomsday. Now, I don't say the large roster of heroes because this is missing at least one or two people. We'll talk about that in a bit, but I just wanted to kind of use this image as a check-in for the Avengers. We have a better understanding of who's going to be in the movie now. I mean, we already knew because of the chairs. Personally, for me, seeing it visualized like this is quite helpful. Now, we've also had a lot of leaks over the past few months. I would say this image confirms some of those leaks to be true, but I'm not going to get too much into those. What I would like to do is just talk about everybody's fits, talk about kind of where we last saw these characters, how they might all fit together. First, obviously, we have to talk about the man himself, Dr. Doom, the titular Doom of the Doomsday. And I have this comic here, The Uncanny X-Men, where Doom holds Storm. What a great cover. That might clue you in as to who I hope is one of the people missing from this poster. But Doom. We only get a look at his mask and then like a little bit of the hood, but it looks fine. Dr. Doom is not like a crazy complex design.
Do not toot it. Fool! Dr. Doom toots as he pleases.
People try to overdo it. The Fan4stick movie really tried to overdo it, though I will say I kind of liked what they were going for. This is really going for that classic. It actually doesn't look that different, I think, from Julian McMahon's Doom mask. But maybe that's just me memory holing how bad that thing looked. You have then also Toby Kebbell's Doom with that over-designed kind of infected negative zone body.
What advice would you have for the next guy that plays Dr. Doom?
Make sure Marvel are in control.
I like it just fine. I will say, I wonder how much of that we're actually going to be seeing versus RDJ's face. You know, the jury is still out on that one. They invented, but they did that really iconic technique with Iron Man where they would show him in the mask. I don't think that makes much sense for Dr. Doom. Is he just going to be taking his mask off? Is it going to be like Star-Lord's mask where it like, you know, nanotech? We don't want that. I don't think it is. He took it off at Comic-Con. It looks to me like it's a thing that he takes on and off. There could be an incursion, right? And it destroys his face and melds him with the mask. You know, we don't know what's going to happen in the movie. But okay, let's talk about both sides, starting with the right side, because it feels right to talk about the Fantastic Four right after Dr. Doom. Now, last we saw Fantastic Four, it was not that long ago in First Steps where they fought Galactus. Dr. Doom showed up in the after credits scene, taking Franklin from Sue, and now they're wearing jackets. The Fantastic Four are wearing jackets. It's possible that the Thing is not wearing a jacket. I actually wouldn't be surprised if he isn't. They're already CGing the entire model, so it's just like one less thing to worry about. Like, why put a jacket on him? So that might be the case there. They look fine. I mean, the jackets, it's like whatever, cool, I guess. I don't really care. They're doing it, I guess, to sell more toys. It's like, hey, you liked those Fantastic Four suits they wore in the movie, but we want to sell new toys, guys. We got to sell more toys. So put a jacket on top of them, sure, whatever. They look cool, I guess. Pedro is actually looking pretty fresh as Reed. There has been so much Doom posting, pun intended, on social media.
Mr. Stark, I'm not your Tony. I'm Doom. I hate you 3000.
People were very fearful for how they would approach Reed in this movie, specifically because his relationship to Doom is very important to the Secret Wars comic. Now, it does have to be said that comics are changed all the time. I think people get a little too caught up in like the one-to-one details of which character is doing what. For example, in the Infinity Gauntlet story, Adam Warlock played a very large role, and he obviously wasn't present in the MCU until 4 years after Thanos was long gone. So it could work, but as a fan of Mr. Fantastic, I am thinking like, hey, I'd like that relationship to be explored. It hasn't really been explored to a greater extent than just they have like a masculine kind of pit for pat thing, as they show in Fan4stick and in the 2005 Fantastic Four. He also apparently like loves Sue. It remains to be seen how they're going to approach that in this movie, but then also leaked plots, leaks have said that a big part of this movie will be Chris Evans' Captain America. Steve Rogers, I guess is his official title now because Sam Wilson is Captain America. And you can see that Steve is taking up just as much visual real estate on the poster as Reed. They have the exact same size and position. So clearly Marvel wants to signal that Reed is a big part of this, but so is Steve. So I'm really curious to see how they're going to approach this. Now, moving outside of the Fantastic Four, below them we do see two of our Wakandans. We see the Black Panther and the King of Wakanda, Shuri and M'Baku. Now, this makes sense because we last saw them in Wakanda Forever. But then, of course, in that teaser for Avengers Doomsday, where they interact with the Thing, and he does that cute little introduction of how he's from Yancey Street and M'Baku is the King of Wakanda. M'Baku is wearing that same fit that he wore in that trailer with those blue accents. I think it looks pretty nice. And then, of course, Shuri's Black Panther suit looks pretty similar to how we last saw her. I can't really notice any differences because she's so small. Now, speaking of this teaser, it does lead us into the first person that we know for sure is missing, and that's Namor. Namor, we know for sure is in this movie. He was in the chair cast announcement. He was in this teaser that we're talking about. So where is he on the poster? I don't know. Anyways, moving to the right, we see Shang-Chi off on his own in his red fit. It looks quite similar to how we last saw him in Legend of the Ten Rings. I think it's a slightly different shirt though, and he didn't have these these scarves coming off of the side, but it's like mostly the same shirt. It looks about how you'd expect Shang-Chi to look based off his last appearance. Now, it makes sense again that he'd be on Sam's Avengers, which is what I'm pretty sure this whole right side is. It would make sense for Sam to meet the Fantastic Four through the Wakandans if they had already met, because as we learn in Brave New World and in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Sam has a very close relationship with the Wakandans. They made his wings. Back to Shang. Last we saw him, he was getting recruited to the Avengers by, I think it was Carol and Bruce, and that's two more characters we might be asking, where are they?
Yeah, that's fine, but you neglected to mention a pivotal figure in aforementioned post-credit scene. Katie. Where is our reliable archer Katie? Performed enthusiastically and earnestly by Awkwafina.
Bruce we'll see soon in Brand New Day, and maybe that'll answer that. But as for Carol, Captain Marvel, no clue where she is. She would certainly help against Doctor Doom. Totally would make sense to be on Sam's Avengers roster, and she could be here. Brie Larson could be in this movie. We don't know. We just do not know. Miss Marvel, another one. But yeah, I'm really excited to see Shang-Chi again. He is a character that we should have seen much sooner. Shang-Chi was a very well-received movie. People liked it, and the fact that they didn't fast-track a sequel is crazy to me. I don't know how you expect people to get excited for these characters when you don't let them build that emotional connection with them. But of course, last we saw him, it was in The Legend of the Ten Rings. He is wearing said rings. All 10 of them seems to be. That might be something that Doom wants to take, something that we might have to defend, but we'll see. Now, going upwards at the top, we touched on him a little, but again, we have Captain America, and then we have the new Falcon. We have Sam and Joaquin Torres. Now, it looks to be that their suits are, again, very similar to when we last saw them. Almost maybe exactly the same as they looked in Brave New World. I'm really hoping that Danny Ramirez's Falcon can eventually get like a more classic look for that version of the character, because he looks so cool when he's drawn, but they've really just turned him into this generic like paratrooper guy. Hopefully they can really add some flair into his visual down the line, but it looks to be for this movie that he's going to be wearing what he wore in Brave New World, which I'm not particularly excited about. I do think it's quite silly that Captain America has less visual real estate on this poster than Steve Rogers. I understand like Chris Evans and that whole thing is a lot more marketable than the one Captain America movie we tried with Anthony Mackie. But if you want people to connect to that, you have to treat it as if it's actually meaningful that Steve passed on that mantle. But he's back. We'll have to see how that plays out. But this does feel like the right time to segue and talk about Steve, who is wearing a shirt everyone has pointed out. Like, that's Man right there. Do you, like, recognize anybody? Like, who calls out to you, you know, as like a Marvel
Who
watcher?
calls out to me? I like, why is Steve Rogers just in a t-shirt?
He's also holding Mjolnir. And I gotta be honest, looking at Steve in a shirt holding Mjolnir does absolutely nothing to me. That character should not be in this movie. I would genuinely be more excited for this if, like, Captain Marvel was up where Sam was, and Sam was in the position of Steve. That would be a version of this poster that I like so much better. It would show me more faith in the future of the MCU and not so much on their reliance of the past. But I don't really have much to say about Steve beyond that. Hopefully, he doesn't take too much focus, but I'm sure he will. Now we're going to talk about my favorites, the X-Men. I love the X-Men. And this is a really stupid X-Men roster. This is a really weird X-Men roster, and it's also like a retirement home. You have like a 45-year-old Gambit, 60-year-old Mystique and Nightcrawler, like 52-year-old Cyclops, 60-year-old Beast, and then you have like Magneto and Professor X are just straight up geezers, bro. And like all love to those actors. It's so cool that Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart like still want to play these characters. I think that's great. I'm excited to see James Marsden back. Hopefully getting his due as this character. But I do have to say, like, looking at this roster, it's like, where is Storm? Where is Rogue? Where is Iceman? Where is Jean? Those are the characters I'm looking for. And for it to be, okay, as far as we can tell, Mystique is the only woman here, which is just...
You know, female heroes are extremely popular among the fans, so can we expect to see more and more female-led projects in the future?
Marvel is 90 years old. There are so many great female characters, and some of my favorite female characters are in a group called the X-Men, and the X-Men are coming up very, very soon.
What happens to a toad when it gets struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything else. Where is she? I actually have this sinking feeling, or I guess it's the opposite of a sinking feeling. I have this hopium that Storm and Jean, at the very least, but hopefully also Rogue and Bobby, Iceman, will be in this movie. I just think, like, those are the last kind of 4 pillars of the original cast. I don't know. We'll have to see. I would really, really, really love to see, like, Shawn Ashmore back as Iceman, Anna Paquin back as Rogue. I think that would be really exciting. Looking at the actual suits, you have Gambit wearing his trench coat. It's hard for me to tell in this image if it's a different suit than he wore. He wore like a very classic looking getup in Deadpool and Wolverine. I almost don't think it's the same suit because that suit was just too good. And like, you don't see that bright purple here, but it you know, I just get the vibe that they would want to do some ridiculous, over serious, over complicated looking like lines. And Mystique is getting like this white and blue thing that looks quite similar to her like iconic dress, which is cool. And then same thing with Nightcrawler. He's getting this like halfway there, black and red, kind of teasing towards what his actual comic outfit is, but it doesn't look to be like exactly that, which, you know, whatever. Cyclops, though, on the other hand, is rocking his iconic outfit. Here's my problem with this. Put on some yellow undies, bro. This dude is straight up wearing slacks, like fly out and all. Like my friend Elena said this. He looks like he just got home from like his blue collar job. And like, she's kind of right, bro. Like what? I don't know. It's weird to me that he has a fly. He should have on yellow underwear. So maybe the fly isn't actually that weird. I don't know. We've really been starved for good Cyclops content. And I get the vibe of Ty Sheridan's suit in X-Men Apocalypse, which I talk about in this video. It's not even actually that good of an adaptation of this suit, but people are really into it because we're so starved for like good Cyclops looks, but whatever. Moving on, you have Beast, who we saw him at the end of the Marvels. Where is Photon? I don't know. But then, of course, you have Magneto and Professor X. Now, Magneto wearing red and purple, which is rare for the Fox version of Magneto. He had that little moment at the end of First Class where he wears a really good helmet with a really shitty suit. And then he has like red, you know, a lot of the time on his suits. But they never have really gone all out on this red and purple look. Just looking at the helmet, you can see it's that really classic red and purple helmet, and I'm really excited. Like, okay, I'm liking that we're giving him his color. You know, if you're gonna do it for Cyclops, do it for Magneto. That makes sense to me. Now to the left, we have the last batch of people we'll be talking about. We have Ant-Man, we have Thor, and we have the Thunderbolts, or the New Avengers. Now the Thunderbolts, they all look to be wearing about what we saw them in that after credit scene, minus Red Guardian, who is not wearing his jumpsuit. Ant-Man is a character that's so funny to me in the MCU because it really feels like he's just been getting by. Like, I don't know, it seems odd to me that Ant-Man would be in this, but Captain Marvel wouldn't. Because Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania also performed like really poorly. And like nobody liked that movie. I think people actually liked the Marvels more than they liked Quantumania. Well, whatever. I'm excited to see Ant-Man. I mean, he's a fun character. He always brings something nice to these ensemble pieces. I thought he was fun in Endgame and Civil War, so like I'm not complaining ultimately. It's nice to see Paul Rudd still in these. He's like I feel like people don't, he's just like so unspoken. There's something about Paul Rudd being in this upcoming Avengers movie that is just so like, oh, yeah, Ant-Man's in this. Okay. And then lastly, we have Thor. I really like this like black and orange look they've got going on, though I don't know why he has short hair again. Every time this dude gets long hair, another director working on him chops it all off. The Russos, I guess, just don't like the long hair Thor. They've really been trying to, like, in his last 2 solo movies, they would give him long hair again, and then he would be back in the Avengers with short hair the next time we saw him. I don't know why they keep doing that. Let Thor have long hair. And then, of course, last but not least, you have this very tiny Loki in the middle here. Now, I don't know why he's so small. Tom Hiddleston is certainly a marketable actor, but it does intrigue me that he is kind of connecting all of this, which makes sense because last we saw him, he became the keeper of the timeline or whatever, which is a pretty important position and probably, you know, would lead him into some conflict with Doom if Doom's goal is to control every timeline or the one sacred timeline, whatever. My terminology is all off, but you know what I mean. There's going to be some hopefully pretty interesting stuff with Doom going into Loki, and that's an opportunity for some interesting meta stuff because, again, Loki is still the first villain that the Avengers fought in the MCU. He has that level of importance always. It's why it was so striking when Thanos killed him, because it's like literally Thanos came in and was like, I'm going to kill your guys' first big threat. Like, this is someone that you thought you couldn't handle at that point, and this guy's like easy peasy breezy. For me, I wonder, you know, I'm sure Doom will have something like that. It would be pretty funny if they did that to Loki. It's like, oh, now I'm a time god, and then they just do that to him again. They just kill him again in an Avengers movie. That would be pretty funny if Loki straight up just got bitched in 3 separate Avengers movies, but for some reason, I don't picture that happening this time. Again, we're missing Namor. We might be missing Storm, Jean, Iceman, Rogue, Captain Marvel. There's Miss Marvel, Photon, and there's even like Kate Bishop, Daredevil. You know, there's other characters that are in the MCU that have been in the MCU.
Editing Hippo here to just say that the Eternals crossed my mind, but the big one that I'm surprised I forgot about is America Chavez, who like literally is the multiverse character, and like this is that saga, so I feel like she'd make sense here, but whatever.
But that's going to be all. If you enjoyed watching, please do make sure to like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you are excited for with Avengers Doomsday, who you're looking forward to seeing again. Maybe an interaction that you're looking forward to seeing. Like, hey, maybe it'll be fun to see Shang-Chi talk to Ant-Man. I don't fucking know. But yeah, have a great day or night. Check out some of my other videos. I want to give a huge shout out to my channel members, Kat McKee, Mix Knickerbottom, and Phoenix E. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. It truly means the world. Other than that, have a great day or night. Hippo out.